I used to work at a pub about 2 miles from my house. One night my shift ended around 11 p.m., but I stuck around for a couple of drinks before heading home. That night had been great for tips. I had nearly $400 in cash stuffed in my pocket. Eerie. Road home was dark. There was only one street light about a quarter mile from the pub. The rest of the way was pitch black. It was cloudy, so there wasn't even moonlight to help. Out in the boonies, there were no houses or streetlights to break up the darkness. Not long after I started walking, a car passed by me going real slow. I didn't think much of it until about a quarter mile down the road it came to a stop. Just sat there, no turn signal, no movement, just waiting. Something felt off. I stopped walking and just watched. After a minute or two, the car finally drove away. I let out a breath, telling myself I was being paranoid. Then it came back. This time it drove even slower, like it was looking for something, for me. It passed by again, went a little further down the road, then did a U-turn. And that's when I saw its headlights switch off. Now it was creeping toward me in complete darkness. I didn't think, I just ran. Off the road, into the woods, crouching behind some bushes. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they'd hear it. My hands were shaking. I tried to breathe quietly, but I was terrified. I couldn't see the car anymore, but I could hear it. Then, a car door, then another. That's when the panic really hit. They were out of the car, looking for me. My mind was racing with horrible thoughts. What if they have a flashlight? What if they find me? What if they're already behind me? I stayed completely still, barely even breathing. I don't know how long I was there, felt like forever. Then, finally, car doors again, an engine starting, tires rolling away. I waited a few more minutes just to be sure. Then I crept back to the road, checked both ways, and took off running. I didn't stop until I was back at the pub. The moment I walked in out of breath and probably pale as a ghost, my boss knew something was wrong. When I told him what happened, his face went serious. "From now on, you're never walking home alone," he said. "Either I, my brother, or my mom will drive you." The kitchen staff and other servers all agreed immediately. No one wanted to risk that happening again. I never found out who was in that car or what they wanted. But I know one thing. I have never been that scared in my life, and I hope I never feel that way again. Working night shifts at a psychiatric facility, you learn to expect the unexpected. I've seen it all. Patients coming in high and completely out of touch with reality. Others huddled in the corner whispering to themselves. You get used to the eerie moments. But nothing prepared me for what happened that night. A patient came up to the nurse's station, their face pale, voice shaky. "There's someone outside my window," they said. From the moment they were admitted, they had been struggling with intense hallucinations, so we assumed this was just another one, but they looked genuinely terrified. To reassure them, we decided to check. We walked into the room. The only sound was the hum of the air vent. The curtains were drawn shut. I hesitated for just a second before stepping forward. "This window?" I asked. The patient nodded. I grabbed the curtain and pulled it open, and my heart stopped. There was someone there, standing inches from the glass, wide-eyed, staring straight at us. For a second, none of us moved. Then, as if realizing he'd been seen, the man bolted into the darkness. We called security. We called the police. They searched the grounds, checked the cameras. They never found him, and we never saw him again. But every time I pass that room at night, I feel the urge to look outside, just to make sure no one is staring back. I work at a cafe in downtown. There are a few homeless shelters nearby and a huge drug problem in the area, so we get some strange encounters. One day I'm behind the bar when this red-headed guy, probably in his early 20s, sits down in our seating area. He starts muttering under his breath, hands moving like he's casting a spell. I keep an eye on him, but after a minute or two he stands up and starts yelling, disturbing everyone around him. I walk over and tell him he needs to leave for the day. He locks eyes with me and says, completely serious, "This is all a giant game, I could kill you with one finger. At this point, whatever. I get weird threats all the time working here, so I just shoo him off and go back to work thinking that's the end of it. Fast forward to closing time. It's about 9 p.m. Not technically night shift, but it's winter and downtown is already pitch black. I lock up and start heading to the parking garage where my car is parked, about 6 blocks away. It's not a big deal, but the dark makes everything feel eerie. About 2 blocks in, I hear this weird hissing noise. I stop and look around, but there's no one there. My stomach drops. Then I hear footsteps in the snow behind me. Fast, closing in. Nope. I take off toward the parking garage. There's no way I'm waiting for the elevator, so I sprint up the stairwell. I'm about 1 flight up when I hear the door I just went through slam shut. My heart is pounding as I rush up the stairs, barely registering anything but the need to get to my car. I finally reach it, jump in, and lock the doors. My hands are shaking as I start the engine. That's when I see him. The redhead from earlier. Only this time, he looks furious. His face is twisted with rage, and before I can react, he charges at my car full speed. He starts slamming his fists against my window, screaming, "I'm going to fucking kill you!" I don't think. I just react. I throw the car into reverse, door check him as I peel out of there, and drive off as fast as I can. I don't stop until I'm far away, somewhere safe. The next morning I call the cops. They find him. Turns out he fully admits to everything, tells the police he's in the Illuminati, and that this was all part of some grand plan. They slap him with a short jail sentence and a restraining order, and I never see him again. Still, to this day, I don't walk to my car alone at night.